you for being here, and let's dive in. Right. So, what first inspired you to start using SmileFy in your practice?
I wanted an easier workflow. I wanted to have less frustration in working doing lab work and eliminate a lot of the plaster and model work that I'd also got involved with when I was doing patient workups. So it has just created, I was trying to get away from the traditional plaster and models and things like that. And so it has just made life a whole lot easier.
How did you implement SmileFy in your daily workflow?
How I implement it is I got two ways of doing it. I use it as a general dentist. I use it for now. I'm using it because it has posterior work. I use it for designing crown and bridge cases, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to be able to print crowns in my office. But regardless, I use it for general dentistry for designing posterior work. And then the second one is for designing anterior work or the cosmetic end of it. And that cosmetic end of it has made SmileFy has made it really easy.
Can you walk us through a typical day or patient workflow using SmileFy?
Yeah, if it's a typical day is a day where there's mostly general dentistry. And so a patient will come in, they may need some, as I keep mentioning, posterior work. So we'll do a scan. Once I get that scan, then I'll upload that into the SmileFy program, and I'll just use the virtual patient for that, and then which is that avatar there, and then I just work the regular workflows. If I was going to do a regular diagnostic wax up, I create the diagnostic wax up digitally, and then print that out, and then on my 3D printer, and then go ahead and make your silicone molds. And once I prep the teeth, put the silicone mold in place, and the temporary is made, which is a whole lot better than what many times I can do freehanded. So that has made life a lot easier.
Great. What specific features do you use most frequently, and why?
Yeah, the features of SmileFy that I use the most, the 3D design is what I use most frequently, because 3D design allows me to have flexibility. I can do multiple presentations of what a smile could look like in their simulation in the simulation part, or when I'm actually designing the case, I can make 2 or 3 mock-ups, molds for mock-ups, which then I can put one mock-up in, see if they like it, and if they don't, take it right out, put another one back in with a slightly different design. And that is what makes the program fun, and it's more predictable. And the patient loves that because now they have a choice. They've got real input into what they want.
So, do you use SmileFy chairside with patient, and how do they typically respond?
Yes, I use SmileFy at chairside. I'll do the simulation or an actual 3D mock-up. The reaction that I get from them is always positive. They always love what they see, because once we start with the simulation and roll it into the mock-up, they can see what they're going to look like. And I tell them, we're going to start from what you want to see and work our way backwards. So we'll, in other words, start with the end in mind.
All right. Looking back to when you first started using SmileFy, what advice would you give to yourself?
Wait 5 years until I get to the very end when Ralph had all this good stuff there. But that has made the 5 years has been a lot of fun, because it actually helped me go from the analog world into the digital world. And because of that, it's because of that, those new skills, it's allowed me to also work with the scanners better, and then the case presentation better. I know I've been speaking a lot about some lab work and the workflows, and this is more about the patient, or it's also about the patient. But the both combined together have allowed me to really produce nice aesthetic outcomes first, before I even start the case.
Do you have a go-to workflow or routine that makes using SmileFy faster or easier for you?
Yeah, my routines are too, as I said earlier, I just, what I like to do is use it for general dentistry, just posterior work. And then the second one is anterior dentistry. Those are my two go-to programs. And because of SmileFy, I've been able to simplify and make them more efficient and faster. Oh, and one other thing, Invisalign and SmileFy go wonderful together. What I can do is, again, patient decides they want to have straighten the front teeth, one of those limited orthodontic interventions. We can straighten the front teeth and then fix the incisal edges, maybe make a tooth look a little bit more better in alignment because they're missing an incisal edge. So the Invisalign and the SmileFy go very well together.
How do you involve your team in the digital workflow with SmileFy?
At this point, well, first of all, it's really easy for the team members to get involved and do it if they'd like to. Currently, the truth of it is that we've gone through, in the last 5 years, like a lot of practice, we've gone through a lot of major changes. I had been working with one partner for 38 years. He retired. My new partner came in, and he's starting off. We have our staff turned over, and greatly, only because they aged out. I mean, a lot of the people I've been working with were 25, 30 years of working together. And so we've had a changeover in a lot of the staff. So this new staff has had to get used to a lot of the, it's just a lot of changes, kind of keeping up. We also changed dental software, and that was a major upheaval. And then you had COVID in the middle of all that. So I haven't really been able to bring anybody on board and say, this is now your task. They do see me implementing it. They do like working with, because they see how easy it is. Once I get to the mock-ups, they look at it and say, oh, this is a whole lot easier than what you used to do. Or what my other dentist did, or whatever, that thing. So that's where I stand now. But that is going to need to change, because the younger people really love doing the digital stuff. And once we get our office, kind of back on a more of a routine like I had 10, 15 years ago, that it will work fine. But I'm talking from 40 years of experience, no practice works consistently all the time. You got to find the people, you have to find the time to implement it. And we're just getting at that point. We got a really good staff. We had a great staff before, and we got a really great staff now. So now it's just a matter of getting these people, trained and started with it. So yes, take them to the SmileFy course would be good. The only reason I hadn't at this point was because of our changes.
Can you share a memorable case where SmileFy made a significant difference?
I've got one lady came from South America, and she had some old composite restorations in her front teeth, and she had just gotten married. She wanted to change that. So with the workflow, we went through the composite workflow. And the composite workflow, then I took at the next appointment and applied that, and made some new composite restorations on her two centrals, and I think the two laterals. And in one visit, or actually two, but in that one visit, I took her from the old to the new, and she was thrilled. She's like, "This is beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted." But it became exactly what she wanted because of the workup of the time before, the simulation, the acknowledgement that, that's what I want to see. I simply made a design and did the mock-up on her at the second appointment, and she said, that's what I want. I prepped through it, and then just applied made the composites. So that was easy. It was easy, it was fun, it was enjoyable. And it was really rewarding because she loved what she saw. And it's just like, now I can, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way dentistry should be. It shouldn't have to be that hard.
Have you noticed any changes in revenue or efficiency since you started using SmileFy?
Yeah, revenue has gone up, obviously. It's made a nice impact. And as far as efficiency, it just makes the work faster and predictable. and therefore better accepted, and people go for it. Once they can see what it's going to look like, they're like, okay. Many times they're just, yeah, I'd like to go ahead with this. Let's work the finances out.
How do you see SmileFy evolving in the future?
SmileFy is going to get easier. When Ralph got into this, there was no AI, and then he brought AI on, and then we've got the smile, the 3D smile design AI, and that has made the workflow incredibly fast. I think what we'll start to see is less detail on the program, almost like less options to choose from, because when you go back to the AI, I guess, the way I see it is they'll ask for what's a patient want? What are their demands? What are they feeling? What do they feel about their smile? And then after that, you input the clinical records. Then I think the AI will almost take it and figure out the design that you want, and then create that design. I mean, from start to finish. A lot of the stuff we do now is still hands-on digital on the keyboard.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that will again reduce. And I think that'll also make SmileFy a more desirable to use even more. Because again, the SmileFy seems to be the only one that starts with, as Diogo says, start from the face, then work your way in, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you go back to the lectures from Hollywood, these guys were working with the Hollywood actors. They were just making mock-ups and plastic or acrylic mock-ups and put them on the teeth. And that's how a lot of it started. And then it morphed into the 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s. And now we are where we are, where you're looking from the outside, then work your way in. Figure out how it's going to work inside once you understand what you want outside.
On the same topic, are there any features you are particularly excited about or hope to see in the future updates?
Let's see. Again, I was making some notes on here for potential questions like this. Oh, it is the all-on-4 workflow and the continued simplification of the workflows. I think that's going to be it. I mean, we pretty much have SmileFy has just about everything I could want out of it for treatment planning and design and then delivery. But I still think the AI is going to make it easier and the workflow faster.
So what would you say to a colleague who is still on the fence about adopting SmileFy?
Oh, I would just say dive into it. Dive into it, get involved with it, learn it, and then apply it. And do it in steps. The simulation is a nice thing to start off with, to find out what they want, and just work with some friends with it first, just so you kind of get a feel for how it works, and then dive into it with patients. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. The 3D design, let's just say the 3D design technology, the scanning, and the delivery systems all make it easy. It's all predictable. It's much better than we had it 20 years ago or before SmileFy, which is what, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I would just say, get into it, start learning it, and progress with it. But one thing I do recommend is taking the courses, not just once, but just not just a one and done course, but take it and then repeat the classes. And yes, there's a couple more classes after that are more advanced, and you can take those. But once you get the feel for it, I find that going back, retaking the classes again, even at the starting level, is good. It's helpful, because if you can't do something in an advanced level, it's most likely because you don't understand what the beginning actions are to get into that more advanced move. And the same thing with dentistry. You can't expect to do high quality, aesthetic, technically involved, advanced work if you don't understand how how the thing is produced, how this, if you don't understand the steps that go to doing that, you don't know step number one, you're not going to be able to get to the step 4 or 5. And so that's my recommendation for people is, if you're going to take the classes, take them in the sequence, but also repeat the class, because there's a lot to it, and it will make you more efficient and better.
I do think that when it comes to any course in general, when learning a new software, you cannot just get all the information at once. And sometimes you just have to go back and repeat, and in order to, process all the information. And I do have, when it comes to the online trainings, a lot of dentists, after 4 weeks, they come back and they ask new questions, and they repeat basically the whole process, because I mean, it's understandable. Even though we tell the information, let's say, and they repeat the workflow the next day, it's still not the same. You need time to get all the information.
Yeah, it took us 4 years to get through college and another 4 years to get through dental school. And we all, and a lot of us just learning. I think the students are still just learning plaster impression, traditional impressions, and that's what they're learning. So when you get out, you can't really expect to pick. I don't think it's realistic, based on now my experience, is to pick this stuff up, pick up all the SmileFy and the digital workflows, within just one weekend. It's just for most people, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But you guys are also all very nice, which is why I enjoy coming back to your classes too. I will throw this out because I was thinking about this earlier this morning. Ralph George is the designer, the creator of the program.
Yeah.
He's not a dentist, right?
Yeah.
And he watched and he saw what was the potential for a design platform like he's created. So what I would say to a lot of my other dental colleagues is, look, if this guy who had no dental training at all, he learned it, created the program, implemented it, and teaches us how to do it, it can't be that tough. So it can't be that hard. But, he's created a program that works really well. He's a smart guy. I hate using those terms, but he's a very intelligent man who came up with a concept that is working very well. And people can work with it. He's created the program. He's simplified it with the help of his team, just like you. Everybody puts gives their input, what needs to be improved upon, and he's listened to that, and he's made this program easier. And so, and I go back partly, sorry, George, I don't mean to give you any disrespect, but I do respect you a lot. And what you've created for people is a really good, predictable, easy to work program. It's gotten much easier from 5 years ago, and it's better than it was 5 years ago. And I can only see that this program is going to get easier. And once it's easier, it's a lot more fun.